What's up guys, JP back at you once again, bringing you guys day number 5 in my 4th annual 31 Days of Horror. This is a series in which we watch and review 31 horror films in 31 days, all during the month of October leading right up to Halloween. This time we are tackling the entire Universal Monsters box set, going through that box set in chronological order. For day number 5 we actually have our first sequel from the year 1935, Bride of Frankenstein. Bride of Frankenstein picks up where the first film left off. We have Dr. Frankenstein, who is actually alive, but not only is Dr. Frankenstein alive, but his monster that he created is alive as well. Dr. Frankenstein decides he was wrong and he shouldn't be dabbling in creating life, kind of realizes how sinful it is, and decides to give it up. But then we have a new character introduced, Dr. Pretorius, who has also been experimenting in the creation of life, and he convinces Dr. Frankenstein to join him by showing him some of his successful experiments, and convinces him that if we just work together, we can figure out a way to control the Frankenstein monster, and I believe that we can do that by creating him a mate or a bride. Meanwhile, you have the monster himself on the run from the townspeople. They know that he's still alive and they're trying to kill him. He stumbles upon a little hidden house in the woods. In that house is a blind man, and we have Frankenstein's monster becoming friends with this blind man. He teaches him how to talk and kind of heals him up because he was a bit wounded. So you have the townspeople, you have the Frankenstein, Pretorius creating another monster, and then you have the monster trying to figure out his own way through the world. It's actually quite a complex plot. I also think that that's partly why many people consider it better than the original Frankenstein, which I do as well. There's a lot going on in this film, and it's all very interesting. I think the first thing of note is we see Frankenstein learning and being accepted by a man who has a disability. He cannot see Frankenstein. The monster has a relationship with another human, and he begins to see that the world isn't all bad and everybody doesn't want me dead. He begins to trust and love this blind man who nursed him back to health, teaches him how to eat and smoke cigars and drink alcohol. They're having a good time. He plays music for him. That's a very interesting dynamic because it makes the monster much more sympathetic than he was the time before. Also, seeing him run through the woods as people are chasing him also is very much a sad moment. And altogether, this one is just way more sympathetic. There's way more character development. We see these characters grow and have these arcs in this film. I will say though that it does get a little wonky when you start having Frankenstein talking, and he learns so fast and it really doesn't make a whole lot of sense how that happened, and it doesn't really feel natural enough. The progression of the education of the monster just feels very unnatural and kind of plot holy, and honestly it takes something away from the mysterious nature of the monster. I don't really think that he should talk. I didn't really like that. We are introduced to the bride very late in the film, and I was surprised that she didn't really do much. She wasn't really part of the plot. The idea of her was more of the plot than her herself. There's one major thing that bugged me in this film, and it is the ending. The castle starts to crumble, and the reason that the castle starts to crumble is just ludicrous to me. It is awful. But besides that, I don't really see much problems with this one. It feels like a much bigger movie. There's more things happening. We jump around from place to place to place, and it just feels like it's bigger, better. It's really kind of the first sequel to go above and beyond that of the original, and I like that about it. Few negatives. It's a solid movie. I do like it better than the original Frankenstein. I give it an 8.5 out of 10.